Welcome once again. The Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, and the Trade Union Congress, TUC, will picket the offices of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, and distribution companies, of course, on their premises nationwide today, Monday, the 13th of May, over a hike in electricity tariff. Both unions had given the federal government and the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, a May 12th deadline to reverse the hike in electricity tariff to 65 naira per kilowatt hour, or face picketing of the Commission's offices and that of the electricity distribution companies nationwide.
Though the NERC had reviewed the tariff, the Labour Union said they were picketing the agency's office as well as the premises of the distribution companies after a Sunday reversal deadline failed. That's the quick update we have for this, and we'll be looking at it and asking the question about if they're asking for too much, really. We're joined this morning by Adetayo Adegbinle, the ED of Power of Nigeria. Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. Mr. Adegbinle, can you hear us? All right, we're hoping to reconnect. We're struggling a little bit with the network. We're hoping to connect with the ED of Power of Nigeria to look at this. So I think the questions we are asking are, is it a realistic approach to ask that they revert completely to what was before? Because if we're looking at the cost of living, we had the chairman of Alton join us talking about how the telecommunications sector has been gravely affected by the cost of living. So everybody, even the private businesses and individuals, are affected by cost of living. So is it a logical ask, right? Or maybe a possible ask of the Labour Congress? We have our guest joining us. Thank you very much for joining us. We hope that you can hear us now. We're hearing that the picketing of the agency's office...
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, great. We hear that the picketing of the agency's offices will happen today. I think the first question will be, even though the NERC has reduced the rate, we see that, for example, with Bande has been reduced to 202 per kilowatt hour, and they're saying it should be reverted to what was before. Is this a possible ask, looking at the reality, the current reality that Nigeria is experiencing?
Wow, this thing is not clear, but I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you loud and clear.
I will just go ahead.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, we can hear you.
All right, I'll just go ahead with the parts that I heard clearly. The issue of the Labour picketing NERC office.
Yes, Mr. Adegbinle, go ahead.
All right, on the issue of NERC, yes, on the issue of the Labour unions picketing NERC office, unfortunately, my position on the issue of Labour is well established. It's unfortunate. Yes, they claim to be fighting for the rights of Nigerians. They claim to be fighting for the rights of the labor, the workforce. But they are just pandering basically to the populist opinion, which is to say by force that tariff should revert back to the old prices. If you look at the involvement of the labor union in this conversation for electricity over the years, and I think I've been saying it for more than 4 or 5 years already, it's been one-sided, selfish, and it's not in the interests of the power sector. Neither is it in the interest of the health of the power sector. Unfortunately, labor union did not say anything when dollar was, skyrocketing out of reach. Labor has not at any particular point, told us how the challenges in the power sector are going to be resolved, or how we can solve this problem, which is the issue of the liquidity problem. Labor has not been able to tell us how to produce or to generate 1 kilowatt hour at 60 naira, for instance, so that Nigerians, can benefit from such at that rate. In January, February, March, that the power issue became very poor, I did not hear Labour at any point, speak up on the challenges that faces, the power sector and how to solve that problem. When the Minister of Power said we are owing the gas suppliers over 4 trillion naira, I didn't hear Labour saying, okay, they are going to make sacrifices, or these are they are going to help the power sector to pay that money. So why are they waking up this morning and think that they are going for the low-hanging fruit? I mean, to them, the weakest point, attacking NERC. If you also follow the story of power sector privatization and reform, Labour has at no point supported the privatization or the power sector reforms. So all these things they are doing, it's not in the interest of the power sector. It's not in the interest of Nigerians. It's not in the interest of resolving or getting solution to the power sector's challenges that we have been facing.
Yeah, but is it the labor unions that should fight, for, a better financial structure for the power sector? If the power sector, of course, is struggling with the federal government owing, the sector, running into financial crisis, is it the NLC or the TUC that, should speak on behalf of the power sector?
Say that again, please. I didn't get that.
I'm asking, why do you expect the NLC or the TUC to fight for the power sector and, of course, the private, organizations that run the power sector?
I'm not expecting them to fight for the power sector. Don't get me wrong. I'm not expecting them to fight for the power sector. But you see, I keep saying something. I will go back to that simple analogy. See, this thing is a naira and kobo problem that we have here. And labor union, especially, have been known. I mean, I'm sorry to say, for me, these are the people that have caused the problem that we had in NEPA, that made NEPA corrupt, that made NEPA not reproductive. Federal government keep funding NEPA, and they never at any point broke even, not even make profit to make NEPA a good business venture, which would eventually lead to federal government dissolving to bring in private sector so that they can offset such big, huge loads off their neck. But unfortunately, of course, a lot of other factors, indices are also now coming to now make it possible or make it almost impossible for federal government to hands off completely, which is what we are trying to address, and which is what I believe at any particular point in time, we would have expected Labour to address. Labour, when they were privatizing NEPA, Labour collected their money, 100%. They were paid off completely. So why are they turning around today to keep harassing that same sector? And again, I said something earlier. I would have expected a Labour that sits down and say, hey, these are the challenges in the power sector, and these are the solutions to it. The issue of tariff, appropriate tariff pricing of electricity, this is how to solve it. I would have expected Labour to engage in that kind of conversation. I would have said, oh, the issue of huge metering gap that we have, this is how we are going to solve it. I would have expected Labour to engage in that kind of conversation. But no, Labour, that's not Labour's interest. Labour's interest is what? To grind the power sector.
Okay, but who have you had these discussions with? Asides Labour, who have you had these discussions with, with fixing these issues you've mentioned, with the metering gap that you've mentioned, the lack of infrastructure, the struggles with distribution, the struggles with transmission? Who have you had these discussions with, that maybe are sharing progressive ideas on how to fix them? Because what we are doing here, or what I feel we're doing here, and I'm not blaming, you guys in the power sector, but, increasing the burden on the average Nigerian while not being able to provide actual services that match that burden that you're giving to the average Nigerian, you expect that Labour would step up. So the conversations that you expect Labour to be a part of, you want Labour to be a part of the conversations on the metering gap, on the infrastructure struggles, with the challenges with distribution and with generation. I mean, it's not their core responsibility, is it?
All right, okay, it's not their business, right? So, but it's their business now to come and ground the power sector to achieve what exactly? So that we can have more. Is it grinding the power sector that's going to give us more light?
No, what I'm saying is,
no.
The challenges that you've spoken about, who have you had those conversations with, right? That you can say that we've called the federal government and we've complained about this metering gap. Everybody's aware of it. We've complained about the lack of infrastructure. We've complained about, challenges with transmission of power. And nobody seems to be listening to us. And so this is our only option. And if your only option is to increase the tariff,
I didn't quite get
how does that fix the problem?
Here, but But what I'm going to say in quick response to the earlier part that I think I understand in the direction we are going.
All right, there seems to be a struggle with the connection this morning, and we're going to hope that he joins us again. But of course, the conversation is, really about the idea of picketing, the NERC's office, and of course, the discourse across the country by labor unions, and of course, the counter argument concerning that. He is arguing that labor has also not been supportive.